Hi, my name is Brandon and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. Today I want to talk about the idea of happiness. A lot of us used alcohol and drugs as a way to, if not try and achieve happiness, at least fill some void that we felt inside of ourselves that got us closer to what we thought might be happiness or what that might look like. It's a question that's been asked for thousands and thousands of years since human beings could even ask questions. What is happiness? Is that what we should be seeking in life? How do we define happiness? And that's way outside the scope of this video. But I do want to touch on some things that Annie Grace brought up in This Naked Mind in the section that I read today. It's really related to what we look at in ourselves when we're trying to figure out what is going to drive me in my recovery. And so I'll start with some of what she has to say in relation to her experience as a marketing professional, and then talk in general about where happiness fits in my life now versus how it used to fit in my life when I was in my addiction. So in her book, Annie Grace says, marketers actually create need by speaking to your vulnerabilities. How? We play heavily on the human condition. Humans are not satisfied with simply existing. We look for more. No other animal questions their purpose in life or how they fit into the universe. This is one of the remarkable features that makes us uniquely human. But this questioning often creates a void inside of us. We have more questions than answers, which causes tension. We desire more. This affliction is often called the wound of existence. Marketers play into this. Through marketing, we tell you that if only you were thinner, smarter, sexier, you would find contentment. Your life would be complete. You don't realize that the restlessness you feel is simply part of being human, so you look for ways to eliminate it. But generally, the more we consume, the more we desire. Existentialist psychotherapist Irvin D. Yalom identified what he called humans' ultimate concerns: death, isolation or loneliness, freedom, and meaning. So, stopping right there for a second, she's put a lot on the table there. And if you can identify with what she says, then you're able to identify with what a lot of people look for as happiness in life. We see the consumption and acquisition of things around us as the key to happiness. For me, consumption of things like alcohol and other drugs, which I felt made life more interesting, that for many, many years was what I viewed as the key to happiness. I felt like if I could just maintain a drunk or a high long enough without veering into the making a fool of myself territory, then that's all I needed out of life. I could be happy no matter what happened as long as I could maintain that perfect level of high throughout my life. The problem, of course, is that it is not possible to do that, or I'll say very few people seem to have figured out the key to doing that. And most people find that eventually they want for something more than that. They want something more than just that high. And the high that once made life interesting, all of a sudden becomes boring, and they look for something else to layer onto it to make it even more interesting. And so that consumption that we originally used as a way to find happiness all of a sudden becomes the source for emptiness. Now we have to fill the emptiness that's caused by that consumption in the first place. Same thing happens when we acquire things. The more we get, the more we buy, the more we put in our homes, the emptier we feel because we continue to look around and see more crap we need. And I'm a victim of this. Not a victim. I'm not a victim of this, but I'm a participant in this. I do the same thing. I bought some stuff on Amazon before making this video. I bought some DVDs to play in my new Blu-ray player, and so I'm a participant, a willing participant in this, but I'm cognizant of it. And I am doing some things differently now than I did in my addiction. In my addiction, I just went with it. And whatever I wanted, I got. And what that meant was I put myself in a lot of debt that caused some problems for me and my family. In my recovery, I'm very mindful of how much I have to spend. I have a budget. I know where my money needs to go, and I know that sometimes I'm going to have more than other times, and I know that I need to save up for those times that I need some extra. And so I'm more responsible with the way that I do those things, because I understand that as I continue to acquire, so too can I put myself in a position where that acquisition becomes the source of unhappiness. So all of this is to say then, if happiness isn't consumption of things, if it's not acquisition of things, what is happiness? And that's a question that's hard for me to answer, because it's something that it has eluded me through so much of my life. I've gotten to a point where I'm not even sure I'm looking for happiness anymore. In fact, I'm pretty convinced that the harder I look for happiness, the harder it's going to be to find it. What I've learned in recovery is that I can find peace, and peace is really what I'm keyed in on more these days. I don't care as much about being happy. Happiness seems to me like something that happens occasionally, that when it does, we should be grateful for it. But really, peace and just peace of mind and feeling okay with and feeling in, not to be all kumbaya about it, but feeling in harmony with the world around us. That's the feeling that I'm going for. And I get that not by acquiring or consuming things, but by doing things, by being active, by finding fellowship with people around me, by helping those around me, by expressing love to people around me, by practicing gratitude, meditation, by getting exercise, by eating well, feeding my body well, by taking time to relax with friends, family, by taking time to enjoy art, things like that. All of these different activities and all of these different things that I can do contribute to an overall state of mind that I see as not as a goal, but as a byproduct of the things that I want to be doing in life, the things that I have to do in order to live up to the values that I feel like are important in life. Once I do that, then whether or not I'm happy becomes a moot point. It's not that important anymore. As soon as I start acting in line with my own values, and as long as those values are based on the well-being of the world around me, then whether or not I'm happy becomes less important. And what I'm doing at any given moment is what becomes important. Happiness, peace, and serenity are things that happen as a result of doing those things. And sometimes those feelings are stronger than others. Sometimes they aren't there in spite of me doing the right things. But that's where faith comes in. That's where I have to have faith that if I just continue putting one foot in front of the other and doing what I know is the right thing to do, I will find my way back to peace, serenity, and perhaps happiness along the way. So it's something that I'm still developing ideas around this. And like I said, human beings have been thinking about and talking about the nature of happiness for thousands of years. So I can't encapsulate all of it in this video, nor am I an expert on all the different philosophies around it. But what I can say is that my life is incredibly more rewarding now as someone who values action rather than feeling. And that's the way that I know I need to continue to live, is to put one foot in front of the other, do the right thing, and then accept whatever feelings happen as a result, knowing that most often they're going to be peaceful feelings, they're going to be feelings of serenity, and that's how I experience, as close as possible, the happiness that people like to talk about. That's it for today. Hope you're having a good one. I'll be back tomorrow with more.